what I'm going to do is the first thing that we're going to get into is how to break down a song. And I know that sometimes this may sound like a beginner technique, but this is really fundamental more than anything. So I'm going to go ahead and put this here so you can see this. I'm using the Flex 4 tonight. This is the DJJ Flex 4 made by Pioneer DJ. This works with Rekordbox, works with Serato, pretty much almost anything this works with, which is great. Mobile phones even. You've got all of that that's there. And what I wanted to do is we're not necessarily going to need this to be able to map a song out. We are using Serato here tonight. So this is Serato DJ Pro. I've gone ahead and loaded up a song on the deck. And I'm going to go ahead and just start setting some different hot cues. So the first thing I want to do is I want to set a hot cue at the very beginning. And then I also want to check to make sure that the grid is right. So let's go ahead and see if we've got sound coming out of here. Should be able to hear that. Great. And I can zoom in and out of the waveform by hitting that plus or minus on the keyboard. You can sort of see that it is, in fact, on the grid. So here's a cheat that I like to use, which is I turn on Quantize. So as long as the grid is on, I can turn on Quantize, and that will help me set cues and make sure that they snap to the grid. So let me give you an example. If I were, let's say, pretty close, let's say I was like right here, and I set a hot cue without Quantize on, that's that yellow hot cue there, that orangish one right there. Especially when I'm zoomed out, it looks like I'm actually on the beat. The problem is if I go back to it and I'm hitting this, I might not be hitting it in time, right? So we want to make sure that we are exactly on the beat. So by hitting Quantize on, I could technically be in the same position, but set a cue, and now that cue snaps right there to that beat grid. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off, and instead I'm going to set this cue. Now, I'll leave it for blue right now. What I want to do is I want to set cues for where I get in and where I get out. So I need to know how am I going to get into the song and how am I going to get out of the song. Now, every song doesn't have the same amount of in and out, right? And we also are not focused on seconds. We're focused on musical time, so beats, bars, and phrases. And for some of you, maybe this is a review. You already know about beats, bars, and phrases. For others of you, maybe this is brand new. You never thought about thinking about music in terms of musical time with beats, bars, and phrases. So we need to know how many bars is in that intro. So let's go back to that so that we can see it here. In the intro, we've got 8 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4, new section. Yep, so now we're counting this, right? So we got to be on top of how long is this next section. So that was another 8, and then it keeps going. Now we've got this bass line coming under it. Right, so just by even looking at the waveform, I could tell that's 8, and here's another 8. And now, change. So what you'll notice in this track is we have changes that happen essentially almost every 8 bars. But this section here, I'm going to call this 16 bars. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color of it. So this was a huge revelation for me when I started doing this. So the hot cues in my system, I change the color of the hot cue to denote length. So red in my system is 8 bars. Pink in my system is 16 bars. And I'll show you how and why this is so important in just a moment. So let's keep going though. So we've got 8 bars here, and then we have 16 bars, which will take us all the way until here. So we can say that this is instrumental, and this really is just drums for the most part. And then this is our instrumental section, which is 16 bars. We've got that bass line that's underneath there. So I'm going to actually say plus bass. You could call this whatever you want here, but you'll see that I've just kind of tagged that a bit simply there. I want to be able to write on the track, which, by the way, I want to mention this, is that I'm using Serato DJ Pro here tonight, but you could also do this with Rekordbox, with virtual DJ, with algorithm DJ, they all function in the very same way. So this is more about the fundamentals of this versus me showing you something that you can only find in Serato. Okay, so let's go back here. So it looks like we've got our intro. We have two different ways to get in. This 8 bars or this 16 bars. I think the 16 bars is going to be a much better way. So basically when we get to this point here, when we get to bar 25, I will be fully into this song. So if I were to mix into this song, there'd be another song playing before this. This section here would play underneath it for 16 bars, and then I'd be fully into this song. I'll break this down on a sheet of paper in just a moment. Okay, so now, actually, let me show you this on a piece of paper first, because I think this will help you make sense of this. So I'm going to grab a sheet of paper here. And let's just use this. Hopefully you can see this. Normally I have my digital whiteboard, but it's out of commission tonight. So let me go ahead and show you this. So if I were to go here, I've got a song playing, and I'm bringing in another song. And for this period of time, the two are playing together. Right? Both of them are playing together during this period of time. Now, assuming I got this right, I've got like a song A and I've got a song B. Based on this, we need to know the BPM of the songs too. So there's 3 things we need to know about every song. BPM, how do we get in, and how do we get out? Some of you might be saying, well, hey, coach, what about key? Yeah, key is helpful, but I would say that that's later. We don't need to worry about key as much. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I didn't see that. You couldn't see that. All right, let me put that up there. All right, there we go. Cool. So in this section here, I need to know how long is this section? How long is this section? And what we're really wanting to do is to make this the right section of the song. So in this, we want to get out at the height of the song. So we've got 5 different parts of a song: intro, verse, chorus, bridge, and outro. In this case, this would be my chorus. And this would be great if this was 16 bars, and then my intro was also 16 bars, so this would be my intro. So I'm laying the intro underneath the chorus. By the time they are done, they play for full 16 bars. Their beats sync together, so let's say this is 128, this one is 126. I'm going to sync them together to make this 128, right? They're playing together. By the time this is done, at this moment here, now I'm not playing this song anymore, and I'm fully into that song. Does that make sense? Okay. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Jeff, what's going on? Good to see you. All right. This is what I wanted to show you. This is the blueprint of what we're doing. This is the box top of the puzzle. And this is what we're trying to achieve. So let's get back to the song I was mixing. All right. So basically this would be playing, this intro part would be playing, and then I'm out of this at this, where this white point is, where our playhead is. Now we're fully into this song. And that's where we'd be fully into the song. So I'm going to go ahead and now figure out how do we get out of the song. So the way that we get out of the song is probably where the song drops, where the chorus comes in. Now, this is the first time this happens. It's a little too early in the track, so I'm going to look at the waveform, and I'm going to skip down a little bit more. So I can tell this is building here. So really, my high point is going to be here on 49. All right, so I want to get to that point. So now what I need to do is I need to figure out how long is this section. 4 bars, another 4 bars, another 4 bars, another 4 bars. I would say this is 16. Let's make sure. Yep. Okay. And then we have this section. So you can see it's sort of dipping down here. This is going to be over 4 bars, another 4 bars, and then I've got this little extra section here that's 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Right, there we go. Cool. So let's go ahead and mark this off. This is going to be 8. and this is what I'm going to use. So this is where it starts to fade out, and this is our drop. Okay, so now that we've got that, I'm going to mix that with another song. So I'm going to pull up another song. I had something ready to go. What was it? I did this the other night. Use Ain't No Mountain High Enough. I'm going to set a hot cue here for the very beginning of this. And we can tell on this one, again, 16 bar intro. And then, see what happens here. Then we have vocals here. Like the chorus, right? Okay, so, and this is a Michael McDonald remix of that, which is kind of interesting. Okay, so this is 8 bars of this vocal, and then I've got 16 bars here of this instrumental. So now, what's great about this is a bit of a no-brainer, right? I now know I just need to line up pink and pink here. And in fact, in this one, I can line up pink and let the red fall over this, because this red, this fade out, is also instrumental here. So this could actually go the entire, what is that, 16 plus 8, that entire 24 bars. So we could do that. Jeff, I see you asking a question here. Do you change the grid from start time for song or drop? No, we don't necessarily change the grid. The grid sort of stays where it is. I don't know if you're talking about this in particular, like where this changes up like this, how this grid, there's this like extra 2-bar section here. You know, different people call this different things. We'd call this like a turn, like a 2-bar turn. It's sort of like just a section, you know? So that's a section that we could either use or not use. In this case, I'm not even going to use it. I'm not going to worry about that. But it looks like you were asking, do you change the grid from the start or drop? So usually where I set my grid, I would set the one of the grid at the very beginning of the song, assuming the very first downbeat of the song. So like if a song had a lot of, like, I don't know, there was just atmospheric stuff that was happening and then the beat started, I would set the one of the grid where the beat was. So where that first beat came in, where that first downbeat was. That's where I would typically set the one of the grid. And then realistically, you know, the grid, there's different software platforms that have different types of grids. So now Algorithm DJ in particular has something called fluid beat grids, which is pretty amazing. Like the technology behind it, AI is detecting where all the beats are, and the grid is actually changing automatically if, let's say, you had like a live drummer or something like that. It's very cool. They have the best right now in the market for that type of thing. When it comes to beat grids, though, you want to make sure that the beat grids are correct before you start really mapping the song out. So now that we have it, I'm just going to mix these real quick for you so that you can hear them of how this will come together. And this is the reason why mapping is so important. So if you're not mapping your songs, you are flying blind. Just want you to know. So I'm not telling you what to do or that you have to do this. I'm just saying that you're going to have more confidence if you know the music. So here we go. We're going to come a little bit before the mix point. Get ready for this. Let's go ahead and beat sync them. I know I'm just going to hit beat sync today, but you might want to manually beat match, right? Which is totally cool. I usually manually beat match because I'm old and I come from vinyl, right? So here we go. They're mixing together. Now we've got another 4 bars here for the drop, and then we're going to go into that 8-bar section. So I could be out here. We could be out here and we're out. Or I could stay in. Because I know I got another 8 bars. And now we're in. Right? So this is exactly what we're doing. This is the reason why we're mapping, is so that we can make these seamless mixes. Now, this is really important. If I were to really do this, I did this quick and dirty where I didn't necessarily do the out of Ain't No Mountain High, but really you should get in the habit of finding in and finding out. And you should look for maybe one or two places to get in, which would typically be the intro, and then probably 2 to 4 places to get out. Outro could be a place to get out as well, but that's going to be at the end of the song. So I may not want to wait to the very end of the song in order to get out of it. So you really want to try to figure out the 3 things. These are the 3 things that you need to know about every song before you mix it. Number 1, what is the BPM? Number 2, how do we get in? And number 3, how do we get out? These are the most important pieces that we need to know. Hopefully that's helpful for you. I did just want to show that tonight.